and thanks for tuning into the show that goes around the continent to bring you stories near and far. I'm Joke Rogers at Channels Television here in Lagos, and I'm joined by Vincent McCory from the Voice of America in Washington, D.C.
Well, thanks. I'm Vincent McCory of the Voice of America. Happy to be with you again for another edition of Africa 54. Let's start off with the latest from Nigeria. Joke Rogers in Lagos brings you that story.
The Cross River State Governor, Basi Otu, has commissioned several road projects in Calabar metropolis to boost business activities, serve the people and grow the economy. Governor Otu said the infrastructure overhaul is intended to encourage businesses to succeed.
Calabar, the Cross River State capital, boasts of a serene environment and motorable roads in the metropolis. Governor Basi Otu's administration says it is poised to deliver on its campaign promises by ensuring that the people's immediate needs are met. The construction and rehabilitation of several road projects have been undertaken. This symbolic commissioning signifies the administration's commitment to meet the needs of the people.
In the name of the Father, Amen. In the name of the Son, Amen. In the name of the Holy Spirit. I made up my mind that the era of abandoned projects is over, and that whatever public funds have been invested in any project, our task is to turn it around. So we decided immediately to commoditize our environment ethically, to make sure there's a proper integrative structure that will promote our economy.
The Commissioner for Works, Pius Edet, provides details on the projects.
This area, if you come here at night, is lightened. In fact, you won't believe if you drive here at night. You will just imagine if you're in the Western society. You don't need to travel anywhere, because the reason why our people travel to the Western society is because of infrastructure. And this is going to develop the tourism potential of Cross River State. By the time we finish this road, the second phase that we are taking to technical runabout, you don't need to travel to London again.
While residents and community leaders praise the governor for this feat.
I should commend you, His Excellency, for keeping the flag flying high for Cross River State.
While counting the transformation achieved in the first year of Governor Otu in office, residents are enthusiastic that the state will become the envy of many in the years to come.
Joining us on the program to discuss the infrastructure development in Cross River State is the Commissioner for Works, Pius Edet. A warm welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good to have me here.
Right. So could you elaborate on the economic benefits expected from all the projects going on in Cross River State as we speak?
The government of Senator Prince Basi Edet have been up and doing upon resumption in office as the governor of Cross River State. In less than 1 year, we have done a lot. As a government, we have ensured that our infrastructural development reach all nooks and crannies of Cross River State. First was in the southern Central District. We moved to the central, and today we have hit the north. So, which means that all the Central District in Cross River State have been captured in terms of infrastructural development.
And the governor has promised to build and maintain functional road networks across all the LGAs in Cross River, especially in Cross River North. What challenges do you think he might face in achieving this goal, owing to the topology of such areas?
Well, for Cross River State, Cross River is more or less like the largest state in the country in terms of landmass, so the population too. And it would interest you to know that leaving the capital of Calabar to Ogoja perhaps to take you about 7 to 8 hours, and even heading to take you about 8 to 9 hours. And that's comparatively, even the distance seems to be longer than driving from Calabar to Port Harcourt. Because if you're living to Uyo, for instance, today, it will take you like about 2 hours to hit Uyo, and to Port Harcourt will take you about 4 hours. So if we then Cross River State heading to the northern part of the state, it will take you about 8 hours. And of course, the distance becomes a challenge already. But that is not to say that we are not up and doing, to do all of that. So the cost of conveying the building materials from Calabar here, for instance, the quarries, where the quarries for the construction, for the sub-base and road construction that produce are basically here in Calabar, the southern part of the state. So the cost of taking it down to the northern part of the country, the northern part of the state rather, becomes a problem. But that is not to say that we do not have the capacity as human, as government, to be able to do that. And beyond this too is another challenge, from the demands of people from what they look at. First, we have commenced work in Ogoja local government that happens to be the capital of the Northern Senatorial District. We are also working at Ukele Road, which happens to be federal government, but the state government, for the fact that this government has to do with the people's first mantra government that deals directly on the demands of people who don't wait for federal government whose office is in Abuja, because it is cross-variant, from this action that will have to benefit from this.
Let's take a look at rural areas too. And how easy is it for the projects being undertaken in the rural areas, especially farming and agrarian communities, to enable the farmers get their goods across to the areas where they're going to sell them?
Most challenges that they were facing here was inability to access the market, which made them sell their farm produce at a very low rate. But the government is putting everything in place to ensure that we fix those routes where they will be able to access the market, bring their farm produce, and make economic advancement. Because one thing is to produce, one thing is to get the market to sell it. But today, with the present government, we have gone to all news and trending. For instance, the road we are doing in Ukele, if you pass to a community called, is it about Wanikande, taxes, and they have a very large market. The numbers of agricultural produce that you find in that place, it's so huge. And that is the area that agricultural products are taken to some part of the country, some part of the north, and even to the east. That is precisely Abakaliki axis. And so it becomes very imperative that such area must be given, a positive attention, which the government is doing. So for us as government, we will do everything humanly possible to ensure that we enhance those agricultural activities. The only challenge we are having is that we are surrounded by federal roads.
What is the state government doing to involve the private sector to support some of its initiatives?
I want to say the role of the private sector in economic development is very imperative, very important. And for us in Cross River State, we have a greater incentive, greater opportunities for the private sectors to come and engage in our economy. One of those things we have in stock, let me see this period, to market the products we have in Cross River State, where the private sectors can also engage, in economic development in Cross River State. One of it is our Bakassi Deep Sea Port. We are using this medium to invite those who are willing to invest in Cross River State, in the maritime industry, and particularly the blue economy of our state. It is something that would be very beneficial, because Cross River State today is a maritime corridor. Maritime corridor in the sense that if you want to pass from the Gulf of Guinea to pass to anywhere, you need to pass here. On hitting Lagos, you need to pass through this axis. And so that makes it very easy for your ship to land here before reaching Lagos, and whereas those who patronize the maritime businesses are just wooden around here. So why not come and invest in the business that that it's very lucrative? And then we also have a proposal like the industrial park, which we are also asking those who are willing to come to invest in the industrial park. It's a very lucrative business because the agricultural produce that is done, that is to be exported, residing Cross River. And so for Nigeria to leave the mono economy with total dependence on crude oil to diversify into agriculture, our axis in Calabar particular must be properly industrialized. One of those important is that it will help us to stop the high importation of goods, putting us as an export country, because our local produce here in the market that will build the agricultural product here. If we have a ship here, a seaport, functional, the Bakassi seaport here, some of those agricultural products will be taken to the Western society. And
thank you. We must end. Apologies, we must end the show. Right. I must thank you for your time. Very interesting discussion. Commissioner for Works in Cross River State, Mr. Pius Edet. Thank you for coming on the show.
We want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. After the break, in answer to Nigeria's cost of living crisis, a food bank and farmers partner app to deliver surplus produce to families in need. Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Nigeria is grappling with the worst cost of living crisis in decades, which has deepened since President Bola Tinubu rolled out bold but unpopular economic reforms after assuming office last May, with 26.5 million people across the country projected to face acute hunger this year. A Nigerian Food Bank initiative has begun partnering with farmers to collect surplus or unsellable but safe produce to make sure it ends up on families' tables instead of going to waste.
It's harvest day for local farmer Johnny Darlington, and volunteers from the Lagos Food Bank initiative are here to purchase produce he might not be able to sell. It's all part of a program started by the food bank last year to curb farmers' losses and direct otherwise wasted food to hungry people.
The road is bad. And before we get our goods out, some go bad. The distance to the market as well. For instance, where I am now, Hawowo down to Lagos, passing through Ifo Road, is very, very terrible. So imagine having to wait or break down.
Experts estimate that 40% of all food produced in Nigeria is lost, wasted, or spoiled. That's where the Lagos Food Bank comes in. From the farm, the produce is taken to a storage facility where it's cleaned, sorted, and prepared for distribution. This week, hundreds of vulnerable people in this Lagos slum benefited from the initiative's free meals, or what they call the Box of Hope.
I feel happy. I feel very happy. I appreciate what you have done for us. I can't describe how I feel unless you get into my heart. You people who have done this don't want us to beg for food.
Not be small thing, because the people who have done this thing don't want person to go and beg for food.
God will continue to help them so that they'll keep coming. I pray this won't be their last.
This intervention is timely. Nigeria is struggling with its worst cost of living crisis in decades, exacerbated by unpopular government reforms, including the scrapping of the petrol subsidy.
There's a lot of food gap in our society, and the fact that at least more than 63.3% of our population are multidimensionally poor, and the fact that a whole lot of people still struggle to find meet their daily needs and also fend for themselves and and feed. And we have to come up with very creative ways to solve some of these pressing problems.
Sunbola says the group has served more than 2 million people in 170 communities so far. Last week, President Bola Tinubu said he was aware of the challenges triggered by his reforms, but said the reforms will create a better economic future for Nigerians. Initiatives like the Lagos Food Bank aim to help millions of vulnerable people keep from going hungry until that future arrives. Timothy Obiezu, VOA News, Lagos, Nigeria.
Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma's economic visit to Egypt and Afrexim Bank in March this year is no doubt yielding results, as Afrexim Bank is set to establish its second Africa Quality Assurance Center in the state. Governor Uzodinma notes that the project will help boost inter- and intra-trade businesses. Our correspondent, Eitopekutei, reports.
In March 2024, Governor Uzodinma was in Egypt to meet with the president of the Afrexim Bank, Professor Benedict Orama, and other top Egyptian companies to seek ways of partnership to develop and industrialize Imo State. 3 months down the line, top management of Afrexim Bank, top officials of the Imo State government, as well as indigenes gather in Umuawa community in Gopala local government area for the groundbreaking of Afrexim Bank's second Africa Quality Assurance Center.
Gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen,
the management of the bank cites the objectives of the Africa Quality Assurance Center and the reasons for choosing Imo State.
The strong political will, strong leadership, backed by capital from Africa, capital and innovation, represent a powerful force and our best chance as a people to achieve economic transformation.
We established the first Africa Quality Assurance Center initiative in Ogun State, Nigeria. However, we realized that this will not be enough to serve the country. And based on our analysis and review, we identified Imo State as a very strategic location.
An excited Governor Uzodinma assures his guests that his administration remains committed to activating key partnerships that will continuously unlock the economic potentials of the state.
Indeed, my people are very happy. What is more, for Imo State to be number 2 in the series of beneficiaries to host this facility, my heart knows no bound.
As part of the benefits of Governor Uzodinma's economic visit to Egypt, the state government has signed a partnership with an Egyptian company for the generation, transmission, and distribution of power in the state. The deadline for completion of the power project is 8 months, as the government seeks to end years of epileptic power supply. Eyitopakuta, Channels Television News.
It's time for a short break. As we do, we remind you to visit our website, channelstv.com, for news and programming around the clock. You can also find us at youtube.com/channelsweb. And still to come, aiming to revitalize business and create jobs, the Benue State government will audit all moribund state-owned companies and industries.
Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent Makori in Washington. Minibus taxis are everywhere in South Africa, and all of them run on gasoline. But engineers at one university are hoping to change that, as they are getting better than expected results from their all-electric minibus taxi. Vicky Stark has the story from Cape Town, South Africa.
An estimated 250,000 minibus taxis are providing transportation for people all over South Africa. The vehicles, while convenient and popular, also require gasoline, which contributes to pollution and climate change. At Stellenbosch University in the southwest, engineering students have been working on ways to electrify South Africa's minibus fleet. Over the course of a year, the team has retrofitted a gas-powered minibus to run on electricity, which they say is the first of its kind in the country. Such retrofits could help drivers save money.
You're going to save substantially. So just to give you an idea, our calculations show that if you buy a new electric taxi, you'll pay it off within 7 years because of the savings. If you do a retrofit, you pay it off within 1 year.
In South Africa, electric vehicles, also known as EVs, have been slow to catch on, despite United Nations carbon emission reduction targets to limit global warming. For many, the EV price tag is too high, and until recently, the state's erratic power supply from mostly coal-fired power stations has also been a deterrent.
In South Africa, we have a very constrained grid, and introducing EVs in a naive way will exacerbate the problem. So we're trying to figure out a strategy around that.
Engineering team members here say vehicle electrification will eventually become commonplace in South Africa, and solar power will play a major role in its success. For their next project, they will attempt to retrofit a public transport bus. For now, though, the engineers are seeking financial support from both the government and the private sector to take their minibus taxi project further. Vicky Stark, VOA News, Cape Town, South Africa.
The Benue State government is planning an audit for all moribund state-owned companies and industries. The State Commissioner for Commerce, Trade and Industry, Mr. Alumo Opin, explains that the idea is to revitalize the industries and create more jobs.
Activities at the newly established Benue State Water Processing Factory, Bakery and Fertilizer Blending Plant located along George Akume Way was a beehive of activities as people thronged the premises to purchase items at a reduced price. The Benue State Bottling and Packing Plant has all the layers of reverse osmosis for safe and potable water, just as the bakery section attracts more patronage.
We are going to give a discount to Benue people, so most likely, by the time we really start full production, we should put it at about 1,800 or 1,600. It depends on the variables that we are still working on.
Bread is sold at a retail price of 1,400 naira in Makurdi, but the government unit price is 1,100 naira.
Those projects that we have launched have created about 200 jobs already, and indirect job about 100. So we are driving an industrial revolution. We want to change the narrative in Benue State.
Governor Hyacinth Alia, who is represented by the Commissioner for Commerce, Trade and Investment, moves from the bakery section to the fertilizer blending section.
We need transformer. We need employment here as well. We need borehole.
Residents have been grappling with the increase in the price of food items, and the government intervention is reducing the burden.
Ugandan film producer Alan Mansi is an award-winning filmmaker known for his work on a Ugandan local series called Junior's Drama Club, or JDC for short. Viewers Jackson Vunganyi spoke with him about the state of the Ugandan film industry.
JDC Season 2, Episode 28, Scene 6, Alpha Take 1.
For filmmaker Alan Manzi, it's not just about making his kids' show Junior's Drama Club. It's also about making sure his child actors are well taken care of and have a life outside of work.
Our students, the kids who are studying, they're acting with us. They're between the ages of 6 to 12 years old. However, when you look at the results at the end of there, you didn't know that they were shooting a TV series the entire year, because their grades are not affected. So those are things I'm really proud of.
The show follows the life of 6 children who join a drama club that changes their lives. One of the kids here is 12-year-old Tyra Abok, whose stage name on JDC is Queen.
What?
She describes her acting journey so far as amazing, and the young actress has big dreams.
I feel like acting is a way for me to tell my story to the world, and my biggest dream is to hopefully get an Oscar for acting in an original Ugandan film. I don't need to sabotage you.
Another young actress here is 11-year-old Anisha Mugaga, who acts as Malika.
JDC has been a very good experience for me. I have learned how to sing, have learned more acting skills, and they have taught me nice manners.
Nisha Kalema is a writer and a producer at JDC. She says it's easy working at JDC, especially with Manzi.
In 2020, it was just an idea me and Manzi had. But when we sat down, we realized that it can become something big for not just us as another show we had on our series, but for the country as well.
Manzi says the success of JDC is just one example of how the film industry in Uganda has become big business. Hundreds of people as filmmakers like himself, actors and other creatives.
The industry has gone through this metamorphosis where from 5 series a year or 4 series a year being shot in Uganda, we now have 25 series being shot concurrently.
So you've been watching cartoons.
Manzi says he believes the journey for Uganda's film success has just begun and believes Ugandan movies will soon begin showing up all over the world. Jackson Vunganyi, VOA News.
Trisha was about to warm that.
Well, and that's our show for today. You can find all the continent's top news and world news online at voaafrica.com. Check it out. I'm Vincent Makori in Washington. Channels Television has our last word.
We look forward to bringing you another show next week. To remember that channelstv.com is your source for news and other programming. I'm Joker Rogers. Thanks for watching and goodbye.